My name's Simon. I'm a guide with Mercat Tours, and I've been with the company about 4 years now. During that time, I've done all the tours that Mercat offers, but my favourite one is the tour called Secrets of the Royal Mile, where we take visitors up and down the Royal Mile and show them all the interesting buildings and tell them the stories and so on associated with that lovely old thoroughfare. And my favourite story I tell on Secrets of the Royal Mile tour is a story that involves the great philosopher from the Scottish Enlightenment, David Hume, a great man of the age of reason. And it involves his encounter with an old Edinburgh fishwife. So this would have been probably the winter of 1771. This is when the new town of Edinburgh was being built. And David Hume was living in the old town, and he commissioned a house to be built in the new town, round about where St Andrew's Square is now. So those of you familiar with Edinburgh will know that the old town and the new town are divided by a deep valley. And there's now a bridge called the North Bridge spanning the valley. And there was once a loch in the valley. So at this time, they'd just drained the loch, but there was no North Bridge. So in order to find out how work was getting on in his new house, David Hume used to have to walk down into the valley and up the other side. But in doing so, he had to pick his way across incredibly marshy, boggy land at the bottom of the valley, which once was a loch. So anyway, David Hume is picking his way across this boggy ground, dangerous stuff, and then he slips and he falls in the bog and he starts sinking. He's a big man, David Hume. He's panicking, he can't get out. So he starts shouting for help. So two old fishwives are walking past and they notice him. And one of them approaches him to help him. And as she approaches him, she recognises him as Hume the atheist philosopher. And this pious old lady is not sure whether she should help such a calibre of person. So Hume, the man of reason, starts reasoning with this old fishwife. And he says to her, as a Christian, doesn't your religion teach you should be kind to your enemies as well as your friends? Well, the old fishwife turned to him and said, that may be true, Mr. Hume, but you're not getting out of that bog until you become a good Christian yourself and tell me the Lord's Prayer and the Christian Creed. So, of course, did the man of principles stick by his principles, or did he just see the funny side of it? Well, he saw the funny side of it. He was brought up a good Presbyterian boy. His uncle was a minister. He knew the Lord's Prayer, of course, and he recited it perfectly, to the astonishment of the old fishwife, who was as good as her word, came over, pulled him out of the bog and saved him. And David Hume himself used to tell that story when he gave dinner parties in his new home. And whenever he told the story, he used to always commend the old fishwife, and he called her the most acute theologian he'd ever had the privilege to encounter. Well, anyway, hopefully I'll have a chance to tell that story a lot more as more and more visitors come back to Edinburgh, thankfully, after the coronavirus crisis. So hopefully you may be one of those visitors soon, and hopefully I'll see you on one of the tours. Until then, thanks for watching this little video.